I have a jade pendant that lets me travel back and forth to the cultivation world. With it, I took cheap 2 yuan lighters from Earth and sold them in the cultivation world as coveted fire treasures everyone fought over. Then I brought wild grass picked by the roadside in the cultivation world back to Earth and sold it for hundreds of thousands of dollars. From that day on, I became the only bridge between two worlds. Other people face near death when they transmigrate, but for me it's just smuggling goods between both sides. Double the profit. Yet before all this, I was just a poor guy with late-stage stomach cancer, and even my only house was coveted by my relatives. Everything started on the day my aunt came to collect a debt. My aunt blocked the door, with my cousin the high behind her, and a burly, tattooed man named the Fan. The 6-month deadline was up. The high slammed the IOU down on the shoe cabinet and sneered. 300,000 principal, plus 6 months of interest. A total of 600,000. 600,000. I gasped in shock, my voice trembling. Didn't I only borrow 300,000 at the time? And Auntie, you told me yourself I didn't have to pay interest. The burly man took a step forward. The money was borrowed from me by them. So I decide how much interest you owe. My aunt smacked her palm on the doorframe. I only lent you money because I felt sorry for you. But who knew you'd never get better? If you suddenly kick the bucket one day, who am I supposed to get the money from? After saying that, she immediately put on a charitable face. Don't say we elders have no sense of family. If you really can pay up, just sign this agreement, and your debt is wiped clean. With that, Auntie tossed out a house transfer contract she'd clearly prepared in advance, and shoved it right in my face. No way. I glared at them, gritting my teeth. Don't even think about taking this house. The high's face darkened and pushed me. I stumbled and fell back, my head hitting the sharp corner of the coffee table. The world went black. Enough already. Let's get to business. Auntie glanced at me on the floor, knelt with the contract in front of me. I forced myself up and said, wait. Give me some time. I can pay the money back. Auntie looked at me like she'd seen a ghost. What are you going to pay with? Long Tian snickered, as if something just crossed his mind. He looked down at me from above and nudged my face with his foot. Kid, I do business by the rules. You owe money, you pay up. That's only right. I'll give you a chance. I'll be back in a week. If you don't pay then, I'll take both the house and what's owed. The security door slammed shut. I lay on the floor, my consciousness fading. Just when I thought that was the end, the jade pendant on my chest grew scorching hot. I grabbed the jade tightly, and suddenly the world started spinning. I completely lost consciousness. No idea how long passed. I jerked my eyes open, panting heavily. I looked around, my whole body frozen in place. Everywhere I looked were giant, ancient trees that blotted out the sky. The air was filled with an oddly fresh aroma. Like a miracle, the pain in my stomach eased up a lot. I looked down at my hand. The ancient jade pendant lay quietly in my palm, its surface shimmering with a faint light. It brought me here. I actually transmigrated. I didn't even have time to think clearly about where the heck I'd ended up when a sharp, shrill sound suddenly tore through the air overhead, followed by a huge crash. A slim white figure fell straight from the sky again, crashing hard into the bush a dozen meters away from me. The next second, several chilling voices echoed from the sky.
He won't get far after being struck by my deadly poison.
Keep following the blood trail. Trace it by the blood. 2 or 3 black-clad, masked figures fell straight out of the sky. They didn't use any equipment, just landed out of nowhere. They quickly fanned out, searching the area. I lay flat on the ground, too scared to move a muscle, cold sweat pouring off me. I pressed myself tight against the pile of rotting leaves, barely daring to breathe. They can soar through the sky. Is this really the cultivation world? If this group finds me, they'll kill me in an instant. I carefully shifted my view and peered through the bush, finally seeing the person who'd fallen. It was a woman in white, even with her face covered in mud. Her breathtaking beauty was unmistakable, but her eyes were closed tightly, with a shocking wound on her abdomen, and black energy swirling out of it. Save her or not. If I just leave her, those guys will find her by the blood eventually. And sooner or later they'll notice me too. I'm only a dozen meters away. There's no way I'd escape. They'd definitely kill me as well. Saving her is my only chance to survive. I grit my teeth, and when the masked men searched the other way, I crawled over to the woman, grabbed her by the waist, and dragged her over a dozen meters away, to a hidden cave under a massive rock. The moment I got inside, I grabbed a pile of dry branches and dead leaves, and blocked the entrance tightly. Just as I finished, a shadow landed atop the massive boulder hiding us. Footsteps echoed right above us. I held my breath and clamped my hand over the woman's mouth. An ominous, frustrated voice came from above. "What's going on?" "The trail ends here. There's a sheer cliff right ahead. He won't live long anyway. Make sure you find the body. Alive, we need the person. Dead, at least the corpse." A few more wind-whistling sounds faded into the distance. I slumped to the floor. I looked at the woman beside me. Her breathing was getting weaker and weaker. The bleeding wouldn't stop. She's doomed. Looking at her face growing paler and paler, my mind was racing. If she dies, when the pursuers come back, they'll kill me too. If only I had my first aid kit from home. Ever since my advanced stomach cancer diagnosis, to deal with all the possible emergencies, I'd stocked up on a ton of sterile gauze at home, high-concentration iodine and strong medical hemostatic powder. Since the jade brought me here from Earth, could it take me back as well? No more thinking, it's now or never. I yanked the jade pendant from my neck. Let's go back. Take me back to the old house. The jade suddenly glowed intensely bright, and that familiar weightless sensation hit me again. The next instant, I snapped open my eyes to see the mottled walls around me, the broken security door, and the shattered coffee table. I'd really come back. This jade pendant can actually shuttle me both ways. I didn't waste a second while back in that otherworldly cave. That woman is still waiting for me to save her. I rushed into the room at the fastest speed of my life. I yanked open the medical cabinet door, grabbed a black plastic bag, threw all kinds of hemostatic medicines into it. Carrying the heavy plastic bag, I took a deep breath. Once again, I tightly gripped the jade pendant in my hand. I locked my mind on that dark, damp cave from earlier. Go, that cave. The damp smell of earth hit me again, surrounded by cold rocks. The woman in white's face was pale as paper now. Her pulse was almost undetectable. I didn't hesitate at all. I violently ripped the black plastic bag open. I unscrewed half a bottle of mineral water, quickly rinsed the dirt around her wound. Then I unscrewed a big bottle of iodine solution, poured it directly onto her wound. A high concentration of iodine solution. Once it touched the poisoned wound, it immediately bubbled with white foam. The woman shuddered in pain. Bear with it, this is to save your life. I quickly helped her bandage the wound. Seeing the bleeding stop, I let out a long sigh of relief. Collapsed to the ground. Used my blood-stained hand to wipe the cold sweat from my forehead. Just as I lowered my head, about to check if she still had a pulse, she suddenly shivered. Her eyes opened. Her fair jade-like palm suddenly flipped. A ball of flame instantly burst forth, directly threatening, towards my throat. I was shocked. Suddenly stepped back. Raised my hand, wait. I saved you. I motioned for her to look at her wound. Her gaze shifted down, swept across the bloody tissues next to me, the plastic water bottle, and the empty iodine box. She lowered her head again, looked at her bandaged wound on her abdomen. Finally, her gaze stopped on my face. She flipped her hand, extinguished the flame. The murderous intent in her eyes turned into surprise and confusion. An ordinary mortal. You saved me. I swallowed hard, forced myself to suppress the fear in my heart. Yes. I pointed to the white sterile gauze on her abdomen. You lost too much blood. I used some things from my home to help stop the bleeding for you. The woman in white lowered her head. Her slender fingers brushed over the medical tape and gauze. In her calm eyes, a trace of disbelief flashed. This material doesn't have any spiritual energy. Yet it managed to stop the bleeding. She murmured to herself, then raised her head, looked at me deeply. My name is Yun Zhu, core disciple of the Qingyun sect. Her voice was clear and cold, with a hint of weakness. No matter what means you used. Your kindness, I will remember it. You saved my life. I will repay you. My name is the Fan. I nodded. Suddenly felt a pain in my stomach. I couldn't help but frown. She saw this and reached out with a fair, jade-like hand. Gripped my wrist. I only felt an icy, piercing energy, drilling into my meridians through my wrist. Moments later, Yunzu's expression changed suddenly. Her elegant brows furrowed tightly. Your body is depleted of vitality. All your internal organs are tightly wrapped by a strange, deathly aura. It's devouring your last bit of life force. You have a terminal illness. I forced a bitter smile and withdrew my hand. Late-stage stomach cancer. Not much time left. Hearing this unfamiliar word, Yunzu didn't ask further. She stayed silent for a moment, then pulled out 2 items from her wide sleeve and handed them to me. A simple black ring and a thin jade book made of unknown material. I'm a disciple of Qingyun sect. I was ambushed during my outing. Yunzu's voice had a rare hint of apology. I don't have any elixirs on me that can bring mortals back to life. But this storage ring was something I obtained early on. A drop of blood can bind it to you. There's a space inside the size of half a room. It can contain everything. Storage ring. I stared wide-eyed. My breath instantly quickened. This jade book is called the Zhuan Yuan Body Refining Manual. Yunzu placed the thin book on the ring. Your body is full of deathly aura. Ordinary medicine won't work. But if you persist in cultivating this special technique and draw spiritual energy into your body, maybe you could use the heavenly spiritual energy to gradually purify your illness. It's actually a cultivation method. My hands trembled as I took the ring and jade book. The pursuers aren't far. If I stay here, so sooner or later they'll be led here and end up implicating you. Yunzu propped herself up against the stone wall and stood up. She took out a yellow talisman from her chest. I need to recover somewhere safe to expel the remaining poison. You're just a mortal, but since fate brought us together, if you can survive, you can bring this ring to the Qingyun sect and find me. She finished speaking and then crushed the talisman with her slender fingers. A flash of white light. Yunzu instantly disappeared from the cave. Only a faint fragrance remained. I stared at the empty stone wall, hesitated for a moment, bit my own index finger, let a drop of fresh blood fall onto the black storage ring. The blood was instantly absorbed by the ring. The next second, I felt my mind buzz. In my perception, there really was a pitch-black space, about 10 square meters in size. It's real. All of this is real. I excitedly gathered the plastic bag on the ground, and all the modern labeled trash like empty water bottles, stuffed them inside the ring all at once, to avoid leaving any traces. Then I put the ring on my finger, gripped tightly, the ancient jade pendant on my chest. Go home. When I opened my eyes again, I was already standing steadily in my living room. beside that broken coffee table. The clock on the wall showed, since I'd been knocked down and hit my head, only about 20 minutes had passed. The flow of time in the two worlds doesn't seem to be the same. I didn't care about the dried blood on the back of my head. Locked the shaky security door tightly. Closed the curtains. Sat cross-legged directly on the old wooden bed. Took a deep breath. I opened the Zhuan Yuan Body Refining Manual. Although the prediction was written in complex, ancient legends. But at the moment my eyes touched it, those words seemed to come alive, automatically transformed into meanings I could understand. I closed my eyes, followed the breathing rhythm recorded in the manual, started trying to breathe and absorb energy. Spiritual energy in the modern city is extremely thin, basically can be considered non-existent. But I didn't give up. I tried nearly 100 times. Just as I was about to give up due to exhaustion, a faint cool stream entered my nose with my breath, slowly entered my nasal cavity, traveled down my windpipe, and entered my lungs. At that moment, my whole skeleton felt like thousands of ants were gnawing. A sore, numb, intense pain swept over my body. I gritted my teeth hard, guided the faint spiritual energy toward the source of my stomach illness. The next morning, I suddenly opened my eyes, vomited a large mouthful of thick black liquid beside the bed. After spitting out that filth, I felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted. A terminal illness untreatable by modern medicine could be cured by spiritual energy from the world of cultivation. This discovery made me ecstatic. For the next full 6 days, I completely cut off contact with the outside world. Except for drinking water and eating some plain porridge, I sat cross-legged on the bed day and night, relentlessly practiced the Zhuan Yuan Body Refining Manual. On the 7th day, I finished my last week-long cycle of hardship and stood up from the bed. I looked down at my body. It visibly became stronger. The once skinny body from chemotherapy, at this moment, was actually showing faint muscular lines. I clenched my fist hard. A powerful energy surged within me. The cancer was far from cured, but the spread of the illness had already been stopped by this spiritual energy. As long as I keep cultivating, someday I'll be able to clear out all the cancer cells. Just as I was feeling the power of rebirth, suddenly there was a violent banging on the security door. The fan, your deadline to open the door is up. Still hiding in there, not paying your debt, just playing turtle, huh? It's the high's voice. The deadline's up. They're here to collect the money. My gaze suddenly turned cold. I walked behind the door, yanked open the battered, deformed security door. The narrow hallway outside was packed with people. My cousin the High stood at the front, arrogantly swinging that house transfer agreement in his hand. Next to him was my sharp-tongued aunt, and standing behind them was Long Tian with a cigarette dangling from his mouth, and 7 or 8 gangsters in black tank tops, holding steel pipes and baseball bats. The lineup made it clear, if I didn't sign today, they'd smash my bones to pieces. In this house, when they saw me open the door, the High was momentarily stunned. Clearly, the way I looked now with rosy cheeks was completely different from the late-stage cancer patient on the brink of death he pictured. But he didn't care. He gave a sinister grin and slapped the agreement right at my face. Oh, holding on just to sign, huh? Sign it. If you don't sign today, Brother Long's guys won't care who you are. They'll just toss you off the 6th floor. I tilted my head slightly to dodge the agreement, and, at the same time, pressed the record button on my phone in my pocket. A 300,000 loan note. And you want to take my parents' 800,000 inheritance. You really are cold-blooded. I stared coldly at the High, my voice calm and unwavering. Cut the crap. You owe money, you pay it back. My aunt screeched, you worthless wretch. What use do you have for this house? You're signing today whether you like it or not. Long Tian spat out his cigarette. and walked over with a fake smile, smacking the steel pipe in his palm. Hey kid, last time I went easy on you. That was Brother Long being merciful. If you can't pay up today, my boys aren't going to be so nice. You all are armed robbers breaking and entering, I said blandly. Robbery? Damn right, I'm robbing you today. You two smash him up. Break his legs first. Grab his hand and force him to sign. A vicious look flashed in Long Tian's eyes. With a wave of his hand, two thugs took the order, cursed out loud, and raised their knives, swinging hard from left and right at my head. Auntie backed up in fright. The Hai, meanwhile, looked thrilled, as if he already saw me bleeding and begging on my knees for mercy. But in their eyes, the steel pipes swooped like lightning, yet to me in that moment, they were unbearably slow. 7 days of refinement had given me not just strength, but superhuman reflexes. I stood still, not even dodging. Just as the pipes came down on me, I suddenly raised my hands, without missing a beat, and grabbed both pipes at once. They couldn't budge an inch in my grip. What? The sneers on the thugs' faces froze instantly. They used all their strength to pull the pipes back, but they wouldn't budge. A cruel smile crept onto my lips. I twisted my wrists sharply and yanked back hard. The two thugs lost their balance at once and fell forward. I raised my right leg and kicked fiercely, hitting one of them square in the chest. The guy, weighing at least 150 to 160 pounds, flew back, crashing hard into the corridor wall. He blacked out. You dare fight back? The Hai was dumbfounded, then flew into a rage. He snatched a baseball bat from who knows where, circled to the side, and swung hard at my waist. You're looking to die. A cold glint flashed in my eyes. I gripped the steel pipe tightly in my left hand, not even bothering to look, and swung back with a powerful swipe. The baseball bat collided with the pipe. The wooden bat snapped cleanly in two. Under the Hai's incredulous gaze, I backhanded him across the face. With that slap, using only half my strength, the Hai didn't even have time to scream. He spun 360 degrees in the air, half his face swelling up instantly, and flopped to the ground, howling in pain. The whole place went dead silent. My aunt's scream got stuck in her throat. Her eyes bulged out. She looked at me like I was a monster. Long Tian was stunned too. Damn, is this really the late-stage cancer patient who spit blood at a touch 3 days ago? This kind of strength and explosiveness. He's basically a special forces soldier. What the hell are you all standing there for? Kill him! Long Tian snapped out of it, realizing he'd messed with the wrong guy today. He roared in anger and charged at me himself, steel pipe in hand. The remaining 5 or 6 thugs went crazy too, all rushing in together. The hallway was narrow, making it impossible to move freely, but that was just what I wanted. Instead of backing away, I took the initiative, pipe in hand, and closed in. No fancy moves, just pure, brute, physical power. The dull thuds of bodies clashing and wails of pain echoed through the 6th-floor hallway. The pipe in my hand became a blur of punches. Every swing, another thug went down. My body was now far tougher than normal. So even if I took the occasional hit, it just left a red mark. No actual damage. In less than 30 seconds, when the final thud sounded, there wasn't a single thug left standing. 7 or 8 big guys were sprawled all over the ground, clutching broken arms and legs, howling in agony. I tossed away the pipe, now severely bent. It clattered onto the concrete floor, making my aunt, trembling in the distance, shudder all over, and she collapsed onto the floor. I walked step by step toward Long Tian, who was cowering in the corner, terrified. Don't come any closer. All his mob boss bravado was gone. Bro, let's talk this out. There are rules on the streets. I kicked him hard in the knee. Long Tian howled in pain, uncontrollably dropping to one knee before me. I took out my phone from my pocket, Pressed the stop button on the recorder, then played back the conversation just now. This 300,000 loan note. You wanted to snatch an 800,000 house. Cut the crap. Robbery. Damn right, I'm robbing you today. Break his legs first. The recording was crystal clear, echoing with the smell of blood in the hallway, like a Grim Reaper's song. Illegal loan sharking and kidnapping, plus attempted armed robbery. I looked down at Long Tian from above. Long Tian. Guess how many years you'll serve if I hand this over to the cops? Your whole crew's going inside for years. Long Tian's face turned sheet white, cold sweat streaming down his forehead. He knew he kicked an iron wall today. Bro, no. Brother, Long Tian swallowed hard and forced a smile uglier than crying. Long Tian was blind today. I don't want a dime of interest on the 300,000. Just the principal. Let's call it a day. Let's just be friends, that recording. Get out, I said coldly. Long Tian acted as if he'd been pardoned, scrambling up and staggering out.
He roared at the guys on the floor.
Come on, get up. All of you, move it. They helped each other up and limped away like beaten dogs. I turned to look at my aunt collapsed on the floor and at the Hai clutching his face and wailing. Take your precious son and get out of my house. I walked over and stomped the blood-stained transfer agreement into pieces. I will pay back the 300,000 I owe you. But from now on, anyone who dares to scheme for this house again, I'll make them end up just like this steel pipe. I kicked the bent steel pipe on the ground, sending it flying right in front of them. My eldest aunt let out a terrified scream, scrambling on all fours to pull the Hai up. She didn't even bother with her shoes, as they stumbled away running for their lives. The world finally became quiet. I leaned against the doorframe, exhaling a long breath of turbid air. Although the fight felt good just now, I knew very well in my heart that this was only a temporary victory. Long Tian is just a dog for Jiang Cheng's underworld, and behind him stands a much larger criminal syndicate. Today I made him lose face, so he definitely won't let this go. And given the greedy nature of the Hai's family, once they find an opportunity, they will cling to me like leeches to suck my blood. Ultimately, it's because I don't have enough strength or backing to stand my ground. I need money to pay off the debt and to build my own protective umbrella. I need even greater power to deal with future schemes and revenge. And the answers to all of this are not in this modern world. I touched the ancient jade pendant on my chest, my eyes becoming incredibly sharp. There is not only spiritual energy there that can cure my terminal illness, but also endless wealth. For a mortal going to the cultivation world, as long as things are handled correctly, it's a dimensional strike, which can definitely bring incredible returns. No sooner said than done. I dug out all the savings in the house, put on a baseball cap and a mask, hailed a taxi, and went straight to Jiang Cheng's largest small commodity wholesale market. Boss, give me 10 high-voltage self-defense tasers. I want the highest setting, the kind that can knock someone into electric shock. Also, pepper spray. Give me a crate of the spices kind. Those flip-top lighters over there. Yes, the ones that light up with a ding. Give me 500 of them. Those small round vanity mirrors. Glass ones, high definition. Take 200 high-power flashlights. I was like a frantic wholesaler in the market, sweeping up everything in sight. These things from modern industrial assembly lines cost only $1 or $2 to make, but they are rare items in the cultivation world. If sold as magical artifacts, there will definitely be a market. Walking to a deserted corner of an alley, I took this mountain of small commodities and stored them all into the storage ring Yunzu gave me. Night fell. I returned to the old house, changed into a set of durable sportswear, and tucked the tasers and pepper spray into my tactical belt respectively. Then I took a deep breath, clutching the ancient jade pendant tightly with both hands. In my mind, I focused my consciousness and locked onto the dense forest of the Qingyun sect where I left after my last crossing. This time, I'm going to make a fortune, I growled inwardly. A familiar sense of weightlessness descended. The room in reality blurred before my eyes, and the gate to the cultivation world swung open for me once again. The familiar spiritual energy rushed toward me. I steadied myself and found that my landing spot this time was not far from an immortal mountain. Loose cultivators were gathered in small groups at the foot of the mountain, heading toward the mountain gate. I heard Qingyun's sect is opening its gates to recruit disciples this year. This is a once-in-a-decade opportunity, isn't it? Even the youngest core disciple, Fairy Yanzu, will make an appearance today. My heart skipped a beat. Yanzu. Qingyun sect is where the woman I saved belongs. My footsteps involuntarily followed the flow of people. The Qingyun sect gate was majestic, with white jade steps leading straight to the clouds. Every brick and stone faintly shimmered with spiritual light. On the outer courtyard plaza, a 10-meter-tall spirit-testing stele stood in the center. The stele was pitch black, carved all over with ancient runes. Soon it was my turn. I took a deep breath, stepped forward, and pressed both palms against the surface of the stele. 5-element mixed spiritual root. Lung meridians unqualified, get lost. In front of the spirit-testing stele at the Qingyun sect's outer plaza, the manager's gaze was contemptuous. Like shooing away a fly, he waved his hand at me impatiently. I withdrew my hand from the cold stone stele, standing still without moving, frowning slightly. I can't join. Nonsense. Qingyun sect is a prestigious sect. It's not a shelter where any random stray can enter. Trash like you can't even touch the threshold of key refining. Get out of here quickly, and don't block the people behind you, the manager shouted sternly. The prospective disciples waiting in line burst into a round of laughter. I reached for the taser tucked in my back waistband, calculating whether to deal with him. I'd like to see who dares to make him leave. A cold voice that seemed capable of freezing the air suddenly drifted down from the high heavens. The laughter of the crowd stopped abruptly. A piercing white light cut through the sky. Yanzu, in a white dress, treading on a gentle breeze, descended gracefully before the spirit-testing stele like a celestial maiden. Her face was still somewhat pale, but that cold, condescending pressure made everyone present breathless. The manager's legs went soft, and he knelt on the ground with a thud. Cold sweat instantly soaked his back. Say, Senior Sister Yanzu, why are you here? He is with me. Yanzu didn't even spare the manager a glance, her gaze fixed ahead. Let him enter the sect. Pick a good room for him. Yes. Senior Sister, please calm your anger. I'll do it right away. The manager scrambled to the desk, his hands trembling as he held up a black wooden plaque and respectfully handed it to me. A smile more awkward than crying was forced onto his face. Junior brother, this is your token. Outer Sect Area 15, Room D74. Please keep it safe. Doesn't Senior Sister never pay attention to these things? Why did she personally show up today? What's this kid's background? Yanzu's gaze swept over, and the murmuring instantly vanished. Yanzu walked to my side. Let's go. You aren't familiar with the environment? I'll take you to your quarters. I nodded and followed immediately. The way the people around me looked at me shifted from the previous disdain to extreme awe and jealousy in an instant. Half an hour later, in a dilapidated stone house in the outer Sect D area, I had just sat cross-legged on the cold, hard stone bed, preparing to circulate my cultivation technique, when the already shaky stone door was kicked into pieces by a brutal blow from the outside. Stone fragments flew everywhere. A burly man with a face full of flesh and black hair growing on his arms strutted inside. 2 rat-faced lackeys followed behind him. The newcomer? The burly man looked me up and down, letting out a cold laugh. You look like a sickly ghost. Listen up, my name is Zhao Hu. This part of the D area is under my control. Rules of the outer sect. Newcomers must hand over 10 low-grade spiritual stones every month as protection fee. Pay up to stay safe. If you don't,
He cracked his knuckles loudly.
the spiritual pressure of the early key refining stage was released without any concealment, pressing directly toward my face. I sat on the edge of the bed, not even lifting my eyelids. No money. Zhao Hu's face darkened, a flash of malice in his eyes. Refusing the easy way and choosing the hard way? The fan who got in by relying on a woman. Did you really think Yanzu would care about the life or death of an ant like you? I'll cripple you today. Before he finished speaking, Zhao Hu gave a loud shout, and his fist, carrying a sharp wind, smashed straight toward my face. It was extremely fast. Just a few days ago, this punch was enough to shatter my skull, but I had no intention of dodging. I lightly raised my left hand to block. The moment I blocked his wrist, my right hand moved at an eerie speed, pulling a black cylindrical baton from behind my waist, and pressed it right against Zhao Pio's side. Self-defense stun baton set to maximum voltage. I pressed the switch down hard with my thumb. A blinding blue electric arc exploded in the dim food stall. In the air, the smell of burning flesh instantly filled the room. Zhao Hu let out a pig-like, blood-curdling scream. His level 1 body protection aura was nothing in the face of millions of volts of modern electricity. Weaker than paper, it was pierced in an instant. This 180-pound burly man convulsed violently. His eyes rolled back, and he crashed stiffly to the ground, foaming at the mouth uncontrollably, twitching madly like a dying wild dog. The 2 Dragon Luo thugs outside, who were planning to watch, were instantly scared silly. Hujie, what kind of sorcery did you use? I got up, shook the stun baton in my hand, and gave them a cold glare. Take this trash away. And don't dirty my place again. The 2 minions were scared out of their wits, scrambling into the room in panic, dragging away the still convulsing Zhao Hu, not daring to utter a single threat. They fled as if their lives depended on it. I closed the battered door, jammed a sharpened wooden stick into the crack. In the cultivation world, might makes right. Early the next morning, Qingyun Sect Outer Market, a place where outer disciples trade talismans and low-level pills. I found a deserted corner, laid out a piece of burlap, and set out the small goods I brought from the modern world. Passing by, don't miss out. World-class magical treasures on sale. I shouted at the top of my lungs. A few outer disciples in gray robes gathered over, staring suspiciously at my weird wares on the stall, looking baffled. What is this? You dare call this a magical treasure with no spiritual energy at all? I took out a windproof lighter and twirled it in my hand. Gentlemen, pay attention. This is the windproof fire talisman. Requires no spiritual energy to activate. Even mortals can use it. Produces fire instantly. It won't go out in the wind. A must-have for outdoor adventures at night. I pressed the switch. A sharp blue flame sprang up instantly, dancing in the mountain breeze, yet refusing to go out. A cry of amazement came from the crowd, making fire out of thin air in a cave. With no spiritual energy. How much does it cost? I'll take 2 lower-grade spirit stones. First come, first served. Give me 3. I want 500 lighters. Sold out in less than the time it takes to burn 1 incense stick. Completely bought up. A small pile of shiny lower-grade spirit stones appeared on the ground, striking while the iron was hot. I opened the cardboard box behind me and pulled out a palm-sized high-definition glass mirror. Second magical treasure. 9 Heavens Fairies exclusive glass mirror. Shows every detail perfectly. Absolutely precise. 100 times clearer than those blurry lenses you use. Only 5 pieces. Lower-grade spirit stones. I handed a mirror to a female cultivator in the front. She took a look at it and let out a piercing shriek. Oh my God. Is this really me? I can see even the fine lines at the corner of my eyes. This glass is so crystal clear. Women's purchasing power is formidable in any world. 200 mirrors set off a craze among the outer female disciples. Some even started fighting over the last few mirrors. It became a brawl. Quiet. I motioned for them to calm down. A mysterious smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. Then I took out my fully charged smartphone in a fancy shell. Now for the real treasure of my stall. I lit up the screen, opened the front-facing beauty camera, turned the beauty smoothing and eye-enlarging filters to max. This is the Immortal Beauty Mirror. Not only can it show your reflection, it's also an exquisite artifact that predicts the future. Just a look. Lets you preview yourself after taking a top-tier beauty-retaining pill. As an unmatched immortal beauty reborn. Only one available. Starting auction price, 50 pieces. Lower grade spirit stones. What a load of nonsense. There's no such magical artifact. Someone doubted me. I casually grabbed someone nearby. A girl with a face full of freckles. Plain-looking female cultivator. Junior sister, look at the screen. She leaned in for a look and instantly froze, cupping her mouth with both hands, tears brimming in her eyes. On screen was a flawless beauty with snow-white skin, her eyes bright and full of sparkle, not a single flaw to be seen. Is this what I'll look like after reaching great success? So beautiful, I'll take this treasure mirror. I'll pay 100. I'll pay 200 spirit stones. She frantically dug for money in her storage pouch. And the crowd of female cultivators went wild. 500, who dares outbid me? I'll fight anyone. I'll trade 3 bottles of gold pills for it. Just as the market reached a boil, the pile of spirit stones and pills before me had already grown into a mound. Out of my way, all of you! A blast sounded out. The crowd was violently pushed aside. A man with a hideous knife scar on his face strode in. Spiritual pressure radiated from him, far greater than Jahu from yesterday. Mid-level key refining stage. He greedily eyed the pile of spirit stones, and the immortal beauty mirror drew the long knife from his waist and slammed it down on my stall with a clang. Kid, you made a fortune on my turf, but didn't pay respects, the scar-faced man sneered. Everything on this stall, and all your spirit stones, are mine today. Get lost. I'll spare your life. The surrounding disciples all stepped back, angry as they were. No one dared speak out. Scarface was an infamous bully among the outer disciples, with plenty of blood on his hands. I didn't back down. With my right hand, I slowly reached for the extra-large pepper spray on my belt. Against a mid-level key refining cultivator, the stun baton might not get close enough, so I have to use chemical weapons first. You want to die? A flash of murderous intent appeared in Scarface's eyes. His long knife swung up suddenly, and with a cold glint, slashed straight at my shoulder. Before I could press the spray trigger, a clear, sharp sound rang out. A piercing sword light exploded above the market. A brilliant azure sword aura, like lightning tearing through space, shot down from the sky, slicing hard into Scarface's knife. The blade forged of diamond steel shattered to pieces instantly. Scarface shrieked in agony, without even time to defend. He was sent flying like he'd been hit by a truck, thrown back over a dozen meters, coughing a massive mouthful of blood in midair, crashing into a stone pillar, and sliding down, fainting on the spot. For a moment, the place was dead silent. Up in the air, Young Chu stood on her flying sword, her white robe fluttering, hovering right above my head. Her stunning eyes showed not a trace of human emotion, looking down on everyone like ants. How come I didn't know about this? When did this place become someone's turf? All the outer disciples lowered their heads. No one even dared to look up. If I catch you again next time, it won't end this easy. With that bold, protective statement, no one dared mess with me outside anymore. All my goods were sold out. The crowd dispersed. He walked up next to me. The hostility in him faded away. I took out a small mirror and handed it to him, signaling him to look. He looked carefully at his reflection in the mirror. This is from your hometown too? It's incredible. Do you like it? Here, this is for you as a thank you gift. A subtle look flickered in his eyes, but he didn't say much. He just gently nodded and put the little mirror away. If something like this happens again, just come find me anytime. I was the one who got you in here. Your life is under my protection. Thank you. If you need anything, you can come to me too. Yanzu nodded. She left, sword riding. I swept all those priceless snacks on the ground, plus several bottles of high-grade body-tempering pills, into my storage ring. It's time to get down to business. Back in the stone hut, I used the most primitive method, smashing over 1,000 pieces of low-grade spirit snacks with stones. The spiritual energy was so rich it was nearly liquid. It instantly filled the entire stone hut. I took off my shirt and sat cross-legged on the stone bed. I grabbed a handful of body refinement pills and stuffed them directly into my mouth. Here we go. I closed my eyes. Full body refinement technique. It started circulating inside me at a ferocious new speed, faster than ever before. Wild spiritual energy mixed with medicinal power, like countless steel blades, rampaged and reshaped my veins, flesh, and bones. Black poisonous blood and foul impurities kept oozing out from my pores. Spring went, autumn came. Time was lost in the cultivation world. An entire month went by. I didn't step outside once. When the final bit of spiritual energy was depleted, and all the spirit stones on the floor turned to dust, I suddenly opened my eyes. A golden glint flashed faintly in them. I stood up, bones popping all over my body. Muscles of steel. Blood like a dragon. Body refinement level 1. Entry stage. What thrilled me even more was that malignant tumor that had tortured me for half a year. The dull pain it brought was now totally and completely gone. It's time to go back and double-check. Return to the modern era. As soon as I came back, I rushed to Jiangchengno, One People's Hospital. Across from me sat Chief Physician Wang, gripping the full-body scan, with enhanced CT and biopsy report, his hands shaking violently. The look on his face was like he'd seen an alien. Impossible. How could this be possible? This doesn't make any scientific sense. Dr. Wang, what's the result? It's gone. The cancer cells are completely gone. Not only did the original lesion in your stomach shrink and shrivel, it became just a calcified spot. Even the cancer cells that had spread to your lymph nodes are completely gone too. All your organs' functions are even stronger than those of a 20-year-old Special Forces soldier. The fan. What have you really been through lately? Which top research facility did you go to? What kind of miracle drugs did you take? This is nothing short of a miracle in medical history. Healthy mindset. Regular routine. Drink more hot water. I stood up and casually made up the most flawless lie, snatching the diagnostic report from the stunned Chief Wang's hands. And pulling it away, I turned around and opened the door and strode out of the consultation room. Standing outside the hospital under the sunlight, the city streets were packed with cars. The noisy hustle filled my ears, yet all I felt was joy in the sound. I took a deep breath. I survived. Not only did I survive, I now hold the key to Shuttle between two worlds, and possess power far beyond an ordinary earthling. Uncle Long Tian, and all those petty clowns, from this moment on, none of you are fit to get in my way again. Night fell. I returned to that old shabby apartment and locked all the doors and windows. There's still far greater fortune and opportunities waiting for me in the other world. Clutching my jade pendant, I went back to King Yun sect. A flash of white light, and I reappeared in front of the stone hut. The moment I steadied myself, I sensed something was off. By the wooden table in the stone hut sat a beautiful figure, cold and pure as snow. You've reached entry-level body refinement? Yanzu didn't turn around, but her powerful golden core period spiritual sense immediately and sharply picked up the earth-shattering change in my vitality. A mere month and immortal reached body refinement tier 1. You're a prodigy. Thanks to you, my life was saved. It's late. Is something up? Yanzu stood up, her gaze burning into me, tone calm, yet brooking no disagreement. King Yun-sek's once-in-a-century netherworld secret realm opens tomorrow. He walked up to me, the distance between us very close. The rules say a group of 4 must form a formation together to enter. I could even catch a whiff of her cool, subtle scent. I want to enter and retrieve something. You're coming with me. You want me to go into the netherworld's secret realm? I'm only at body refinement level 1. I can't even use external spiritual power. That's enough. With Yanzu guiding me in the secret realm, it's only beneficial for me. You just need to help me hit the 4-person quota for the formation. Once inside, just stay close to me. Alright. Early the next morning, Back Mountain, Netherworld Secret Realm, King Yun Sect. When Yanzu and I arrived, there were already 2 male outer disciples waiting by the formation barrier. Senior Sister Yanzu, you've arrived. The leader was a young man with a hooked nose, eyes shifty, face plastered with a smile. Senior Sister, this is the fan. Yanzu replied icily with 2 words. Hooked nose Zhang Ying glanced me over. Senior Sister, the Netherworld Secret Realm is extremely dangerous. And you're bringing someone who just reached body refinement level 1? If we actually run into a stage 2 monster, he probably wouldn't even be able to run. The other guy, Li San, with his sharp features chimed in. Yeah, Senior Sister. Wouldn't bringing his hold us back? And if we found treasure, does he really get a share too? My decision isn't up to you. Speak another word. Go. Yanzu didn't even look at them and walked straight in, through the formation barrier. I followed her closely. A glint flashed in Zhang Ying's eyes. But he didn't dare protest. He led Li San in after us. The moment we entered the secret realm, the light around us immediately dimmed. The air was filled with thick grayish fog. Underfoot was a pitch-black swamp stretching endlessly into the distance, emitting a pungent, rotten stench. The 4 of us advanced in a diamond formation. I deliberately positioned myself slightly behind Yunyu. Stay alert. There may be tier 2 monsters lurking beneath the swamp. Yunyu drew her sword with a backward motion. The tip of the sword flickered with fierce, cold light. No sooner had I finished speaking, than less than 10 meters ahead, the black swamp erupted like a volcano being detonated. It exploded with a thunderous boom. A blast of unbearably foul, toxic wind rushed toward us. A massive poisonous crocodile, over 15 meters long, covered entirely in black, razor-sharp spikes, shot into the air. Its blood-red maw, packed with fangs, opened wide. It lunged straight for Zhang Ying at the front. A tier 2 peak poisonous crocodile. Zhang Ying was so terrified his voice changed. He let out a shrill scream.
He didn't even draw his sword to face the enemy.
Instead, he grabbed Li San beside him and shoved him fiercely toward the poisonous crocodile. Using the recoil, he crushed a Fleetfoot talisman. Without looking back, he desperately fled in the opposite direction. Changing, you bastard. You deserve nothing but death. Li San collapsed into the mud. With no escape in sight, he was terrified out of his wits. He scrambled toward the edge of the swamp, desperately fleeing for his life. In less than 3 seconds, the so-called teammates betrayed each other for their own gain and vanished without a trace. These useless outer disciples. Yunyu shouted coldly, showing no retreat. She charged head-on. Her sword radiated azure energy. It collided fiercely with the poisonous crocodile's tough, armored skull. Sparks exploded everywhere. The poisonous crocodile's power was unimaginably terrifying. Yunyu grunted in pain and was knocked back several steps. She was still recovering from an old injury. In this poison-filled environment, forcing herself to operate her sword skills with spiritual power, she experienced a brief fatal pause. And, in that half-second opening, the crocodile's tail, thick as a steel whip, smashed a giant tree nearby. Carrying a surge of deadly poison, it rushed with incredible speed toward Yunyu. At that moment, she was out of strength, unable to muster new power. She couldn't dodge in time. My brain didn't have time to think. My refined, powerful blood instantly erupted. I pushed off the swamp with my legs and slammed into Yunyu from the side. Move aside. I shoved her several meters away. The crocodile's spiked, blade-like back sliced brutally across my back without resistance. A wave of intense pain struck. My vision was instantly blurred by blood. I crashed heavily into the mud. My back was ripped open, 3 bloody grooves deep enough to expose bone. Huge streams of blood gushed out, staining the surrounding black mud bright red. Yunyu safely landed. She looked back at me lying in the pool of blood. Her always icy, frosty eyes instantly turned crimson. Yifan. You beast. You court death. He was finally enraged. Ignoring the backlash from damaged meridians, he bit his tongue hard and spat out a mouthful of vital blood. The blue sword light instantly soared tenfold, ripping apart all the thick fog nearby. Sky Snow sword armor froze the world for miles. Terrifyingly frigid sword energy descended from the sky, avoiding the crocodile's tough scales, piercing fiercely inward. Its gaping maw reached straight to its organs. Extreme ice rapidly spread inside the crocodile. Its massive body froze mid-air, letting out a desperate muffled roar. It collapsed with a thunderous crash. Its life force was completely cut off. The Tier 2 giant monster instantly lost its essence. It fell to the ground, but this all-out attack drained Yunyu of the last drop of spiritual power. The black poisonous miasma sprayed by the crocodile before dying instantly engulfed him. Yunyu spat out a mouthful of blackened, poisonous blood. Everything went dark before his eyes. He collapsed limply into the swamp, losing consciousness. I lay face down in the muddy water. The intense pain in my back made my whole body convulse uncontrollably. Not even my fingers could move. In the thick fog, extremely faint footsteps were heard. Jiang Ying returned. He held a sword, looked at the dead crocodile and the unconscious Yunyu, with an uncontrollable look of wild joy on his face. This really is a bloodbath. Li San followed timidly behind him. Senior brother, that's a Tier 2 monster core. Plus Sister Yunyu's inner sex storage ring. They're all ours now. Wow, this dead weight isn't quite dead yet. Tough bastard. Chen Shin. You betrayed your fellow disciples? That's called knowing how to survive. The world of cultivation is survival of the fittest. The only blame is you being too weak. I'll kill you. Yunyu's precious treasures and peak core will all be mine. When we get back to the sect, I'll say you all got eaten alive by monsters, with no witnesses left. Hope you're reincarnated well next time. Just as the sword was about to pierce down, I suddenly rolled over, enduring the agony of torn flesh, grabbed tightly with my left hand. the largest pepper spray canister at my waist, and sprayed it directly into his face. Die now. The highest concentration of capsaicin and chemical irritants instantly shot into his eyes and nose under pressure. My eyes! Jiang Ying howled miserably. His sword slipped from his hand. So toxic. He frantically clawed at his own face with both hands, rolling madly in the swamp. Taking advantage of his complete loss of defense, his protective aura in chaos, I pulled out with my right hand the high-voltage stun baton already set to max. Without hesitation, I delivered a fierce blow directly to his defenseless Danshin. A dazzling blue electric arc, accompanied by several million volts of high voltage, instantly pierced his flesh and destroyed his most vulnerable core. Jiang Ying's whole body burned black, jerking like a lump of mush twice, completely crippled, collapsing lifelessly. Senior brother Zhang. Li San, who was on lookout in the rear, saw this and was horrified. He could never have expected that a fatally wounded mortal like me could instantly counterkill Jiang Ying, a key refining stage cultivator. You dare to destroy senior brother Zhang's key C. I'll kill you. He immediately sent out his flying sword. A cold gleam flashed into a stream of light, aiming straight for my throat. I'm badly wounded and bleeding, barely able to stand, with no strength to dodge. At the very last moment, I ripped off the jade talisman Yunyu had tossed to me when we first met, and crushed it forcefully. Inner Sect Legacy Disciples Protective Jade Talisman. Let's see how long your drained spiritual turtle shell lasts. With all these cracks already on the shield, the protective barrier was already covered with cracks. But 3 seconds is enough. I gripped the ancient jade pendant on my chest tightly. My mind locked desperately onto that rundown apartment in the present day.
Take me back.
A sense of weightlessness hit me instantly. In the very last moment when Li San's flying sword shattered the golden light, my body vanished into thin air. Then, I crashed hard onto the old wooden floor of the apartment's living room. The 3 wounds on my back were still gushing out blood. Blood instantly stained a large part of the floor red. I can't die here. I forced myself to stay conscious. I took out all the remaining low-grade spirit stones from my storage ring and poured them out. I hastily set up a simple spirit gathering formation around me. Then I sat down cross-legged. I greedily inhaled the spiritual energy released by the formation and began frantically running the Zhuanyuan body refining technique. The raging spiritual energy was repairing my torn flesh. I stayed there for 3 whole days and nights. When I opened my eyes again, the snacks on the floor had all turned into white ashes. I got up, moved my shoulders around. There was no pain at all in my back. I reached back to touch it. Not only had the fatal wound completely healed, there wasn't even a scar left. Even more terrifying was my current physical strength. I walked over to the misshapen security door, casually gripped the stainless steel handle. The handle, forged from pure steel, was crushed in my hand into a flat piece of metal. Body refining, perfect level. My pure physical strength right now. Even without a stun baton, I could tear apart a key refining stage cultivator with my bare hands. I changed into clean sportswear and checked my equipment in the storage ring. I noticed, in the corner there were still a few stalks I had pulled up in the Secret Realms swamp, just to avoid leaving traces some purple weeds. In the cultivation world, this was just a weed. But here on ore-depleted Earth, it's a divine medicine. Half a day later, at Jiangcheng's largest antique herb trading center, I walked in wearing a baseball cap, expressionless through the front doors of Beikao Hall. Welcome. Sir, what do you need? A young apprentice in gray work clothes approached and gave me a once-over. His gaze paused on my sportswear and cheap sneakers, then lingered. He couldn't help but curl his lips downward. I'm looking for your chief herbalist. The professional smile on the apprentice's face vanished instantly. He folded his arms. Mr. Sun doesn't just see anyone. Are you here for treatment or to buy herbs? See a doctor. Go register. Buying herbs? That's the counter over there. I'm here to sell some medicinal herbs. The apprentice sneered. His eyes looked at me like I'm a scammer. We only buy authentic herbs at Baikal Hall, not random fakes from the street stalls. If you're trying to sell some so-called family heirloom lingi or wild ginseng, take a left outside, there's a farmer's market. Someone might buy it there. Besides, do you know who Mr. Sun is? Not just any random guy can meet him. I narrowed my eyes, without saying a word, and reached into my pocket, pulled out the purple weed I brought back from the secret realm's swamp, and casually set it on the counter. The purple roots glowed faintly under the lights. A crisp medicinal fragrance filled the air instantly. The apprentice glanced down, was stunned at first, then frowned. He reached out to grab it. What's this thing? Purple and weird looking. Could it be dyed? A stern voice shouted from the back room. Don't touch that. The apprentice's hand froze in midair. His whole body was paralyzed like he was struck. An elderly man with gray hair, dressed in a dark blue changshan, lifted the curtain and came out. His steps were quick. He wore reading glasses. His complexion was rosy, with sharp, discerning eyes. He was Baikal Hall's chief herbalist, Mr. Sun. Mr. Sun, this guy brought something weird. Shut up. Mr. Sun didn't even glance at him, but walked straight to the counter and bent down to get close to the purple grass. His pupils contracted sharply. Next second, he pulled out a magnifying glass from his pocket, held his breath, carefully leaned in, and kept his fingers hovering above, not daring to touch the leaves, afraid of damaging them. From deep mountains, 100 years old. No, with this quality, Mr. Sun, it's just a weed. Get out. Are you blind? This is a wild Zixu ginseng, at least a century old. Perfect condition. Completely restrained medicinal properties. In 40 years, I've never seen anything this good. You almost made me lose it. What are you still standing there for? Serve our guests some tea. Use the dahang dao from my cabinet. The apprentice scrambled away. Mr. Sun turned around. His furious expression instantly shifted into a warm, kind smile. He even looked a little respectful. My apologies, young friend. My staff didn't know better. Sorry you had to witness that. He gave a slight bow and handed me a business card with both hands. This Zixu ginseng. I'd like to buy it. Please name your price. How about 300,000? That's the highest I can offer on my own. If you auctioned it off, the price could easily double. But I sincerely hope we can close this deal. Mr. Sun paused for a second, then was overjoyed. Immediately asked the accountant to transfer the money, and personally took out a fine piece of silk cloth and carefully wrapped each stalk of Zixu. He locked them deep inside the medicine cabinet. Young friend, if you get more like this in the future, please consider us first. Here's a Baikal Hall VIP card. Next time, come find me directly. No need to wait in line. I took the card, nodded slightly, and turned to leave the hall. The black card in my pocket now had 500,000 in it. Mr. Sun sent an extra 200,000, said it was to apologize and make friends. In my hand was a heavy black plastic bag, with the remaining 300,000 in cash. With the money, I took a cab straight to my uncle's house. It's time to settle this once and for all. The wide security door at my uncle's house, I kicked open with one blow. The lock snapped, and half the door frame crashed to the floor. In the living room, my uncle and aunt, and my cousin the High, who still had gauze on half his face, were eating at the table. When they heard the crash, all three turned around suddenly. The fan? You actually dared to come back to my house? I strode right in and held out that black plastic bag stuffed with 300,000 cash and slammed it down on their dining table like a sandbag. Here's your money back.
Done.
Stacks of 100 bills spilled out of the bag, smashing their dishes on the table and splattering soup everywhere. 300,000. Uncle. 300,000 to Long Tian. That means he made 600,000. You think you can just brush us off like this?
Exactly.
What about that slap you gave me last time? If you don't cough up $1 million today, I'm calling the cops right now. I'll have you arrested for home invasion and robbery. I raised my hand and delivered a sharp slap. Before he could even react, I backhanded the Halen across the other side of his face. I didn't use any spiritual power, just a burst of pure physical strength. The High didn't even have time to scream. He was sent flying into the air, spinning twice in midair, before smashing into the television set. The 60-inch LCD screen shattered instantly. Murder! Someone's being killed. You're crazy. I'm calling the cops. Oh. I casually picked up an apple from the table. Applying a slight pressure with my fingers, the hard apple was crushed into a pulp of juice by my bare hand. It dripped through my fingers onto the expensive carpet. My uncle's hand holding the phone to call the police froze in midair. The phone dropped straight to the floor. I pulled out my phone and pressed play. Cut the crap. I'm robbing you today. Break both his legs first. The recording from the last time they came to collect the debt played clearly throughout the living room. This 300,000 principal is the last bit of respect I'm giving you. From now on, the debt is settled. As for the interest for the loan sharks, you can settle that with Long Tian yourselves. I've made 10 backups of this recording. If Long Tian or any of you dare to step into my life again, I guarantee your whole family will be rotting in prison together. Do I make myself clear? Seeing they understood, I stood up, kicked open the broken wooden door blocking my way, and without looking back, walked out of that house devoid of family affection. The trivial matters on earth have been settled. Back home, I sat on the sofa, taking the items I just got from the underground black market, through some connections. 2 high-priced, large-caliber automatic pistols, and 300 rounds of ammunition. I stuffed them all into my storage ring for protection. The jade pendant is already broken. When facing cultivators, I need more direct physical firepower. I stroked the ancient jade pendant on my chest, my gaze turning incredibly somber. Jiang Yi might be finished, but Li San is still alive. And Yun Zhu is still heavily injured, lying in the toxic swamp, with her fate unknown. I gripped the jade pendant tightly, focusing my will to lock onto the secret realm. To the Azure Cloud Sect. A white light flashed. The feeling of weightlessness faded, and I landed steadily in the dining area of the Azure Cloud Sect's outer gate. I wasn't teleported directly to the swamp. It seems the jade pendant's positioning is based on the last safe anchor point I left from. I pushed open the door. Just as I stepped onto the bluestone path, I heard two passing outer disciples, marveling in low voices. Have you heard? Senior brother Zhang Ying has achieved an unprecedented feat this time. What do you mean? Wasn't his Qi destroyed? Zhang Ying? That's exactly why he's so heroic. I heard he encountered a peak second-grade poison fiend in the nether secret realm. To save senior sister Yanzu, he forcefully detonated his own Qi to block the demon beast at all costs. That gave Li San the chance to carry senior sister back to the sect. Sigh. Self-sacrifice for others? No wonder the sect leader was so moved. He bestowed countless spiritual pills and medicines, and promised to help him reconstruct his Qi if there's any way. It's a pity for senior sister Yanzu. The second-grade toxic miasma has reached her heart. Even the great elder shook his head. They were planning to stop treatment tonight. A surge of violent killing intent instantly rushed to my head. I kicked and shattered a half-broken stone pillar by my feet. Taking a step forward, my right hand clamped like an iron vice around that disciple's throat, lifting him completely off the ground. Don't let go. The disciple kicked his legs wildly, his face turning bright red. I'm asking you, who saved Yanzu? Say, senior brother Zhang Ying. Li San witnessed it. The whole sect knows. Where is Yanzu now? Water Moon Pavilion on the inner gate's main peak. Let go of me. I slammed him onto the ground like a piece of trash. Without a single wasted word, my legs instantly exploded with the terrifying power of body refinement great perfection. Spiderweb-like cracks were stamped into the bluestone ground by my feet. I turned into a blur, heading straight for the inner gate. The air was freezing in front of the Water Moon Pavilion. Halt. This is a restricted inner gate area. Outer disciples are not allowed entry. Get lost. I didn't stop my pace. I charged straight toward the sword points. My hands shot out like lightning, precisely grabbing both their wrists, and slammed them toward each other. Their skulls collided with a thud. Without even a cry, they slumped to the ground. I kicked open the heavy wooden doors of the Water Moon Pavilion. On the cold jade bed in the center of the room, Yanzu lay lifelessly. Her once stunning face was now shrouded in a deathly gray-purple hue. Her dark lips trembled slightly, and the rise and fall of her chest was barely visible. Several white-bearded elders surrounded the bed, each with a solemn expression, sighing repeatedly. Impudent! Who dares to barge into the Water Moon Pavilion? How much longer can she last? Humph. A mere mortal with no spiritual fluctuations dares to act so insolently here. Someone, throw him out. I'm asking you, how much time does she have left? The elder was furious. His spiritual power erupted instantly, trying to blow me away. However, the violent spiritual energy hit my body, like a stone sinking into the ocean. He was shocked to find that he couldn't break free from my pure physical grip. At most half an hour. The fatal toxic miasma has entered her heart vessels. Even the gods couldn't save her. What is the antidote? In the heart of the swamp, the 9 nether soul-suppressing grass in the middle of the black water pool. This grass is extremely yin and cold. It can extract the toxic miasma. I'll go get it. Wait. Young man, near that 9 nether soul-suppressing grass, there's a peak second-grade black swamp giant python lurking. Even for someone in the foundation establishment stage, it's certain death. The sect won't risk losing another elder. For a dying person. Where is the location? Keep heading north, where the toxic miasma is thickest. Going there will only add one more corpse. Protect her from me. Half an hour. I will bring back the grass. Before I even finished speaking, I had already charged out of the Shuyu Pavilion's nether secret realm. Deep in the swamp, the farther north I went, the green toxins in the air grew thicker. Even the withered trees around me sizzled as they corroded. The further north, the denser the poison. Ordinary cultivators' antidote pills wouldn't last 3 breaths here. I hid behind a massive black boulder, pulled out from my storage ring a set of modern military-grade gas masks, and fitted it tightly onto my face. Then opened the breathing valve. The highly efficient modern industrial filter perfectly blocked the mortal weapons of the cultivation world. I took deep breaths of the filtered air and drew a military dagger. My other hand reached for the tactical pouch. 100 meters ahead, the black water in the pond churned like ink. Atop a lone stone in the center grew a black herb emitting an eerie blue glow, swaying in the wind. That was the Netherworld's soulshock grass. The water's surface churned violently. A python as thick as a barrel, nearly 20 meters long, pitch black, rose slowly from the bottom of the pond, its crimson tongue flickering, and its cold, vertical pupils shining like searchlights, locking onto me behind the rock. A peak second-tier monster beast. Black scales gleamed metallically in the dim light. The giant python showed no signs of charging, but its massive body coiled and sprang out like a compressed spring. It whipped up toxic water everywhere, and opened its massive mouth wide enough to swallow a car, with a terrifying and suffocating aura, and lunged straight at me. Way too fast. I didn't retreat but advanced instead. My right foot kicked off the rock, charging right into the python's bloody maw. Take your medicine, beast. With a flick of my thumb, I pulled the safety pin off the high-explosive grenade in my hand. My right hand shot out like lightning, and I hurled this modern weapon with pinpoint accuracy, right into the python's abyss-like soul ring. The moment the grenade left my hand, I exploded with power in my legs, and shot backwards like a cannonball skimming the ground, sliding madly back 30 meters. A deep, thunderous boom rumbled so powerfully it made the earth shake, erupted inside the python's body. The devastating force of physical detonation, unleashed completely in its unprotected, vulnerable innards. Every bit of it released. The giant python froze mid-charge, its abdomen suddenly bulging outward, black scales forced apart from within. Flesh was torn apart, as black blood mixed with shredded innards and bones splattered everywhere, like a bloody storm of carnage, raining all across the black pond. The second-tier demon didn't even have time to scream, before being blown apart into a pile of flesh from the inside out. With a crash, it slammed back into the pond. I ripped off my foul, blood-stained gas mask, wiped my face, stepped over the python's ruined corpse, jumped onto the black stone, and yanked out the Netherworld soulshock grass by the roots, stuffed it into my storage ring, then bolted back the way I came. Despairing silence hung in the air of Shuyu Palace. Time's up. Cover the corpse, and get ready for the funeral. Covered in blood and mud, I kicked the newly repaired door wide open, and strode in with giant steps. Move aside. I shoved aside the elder about to cover her with the white cloth. What, you're actually alive? I ignored him entirely, and directly took the Netherworld soulshock grass from my ring, then crushed it in my palm. Twisted open a bottle of mineral water, grabbed Yunzu's tightly shut jaw, and poured the herbal solution straight down her throat. Ridiculous! Do you have any idea about pharmacology? An extreme cold spirit herb like this must be taken with fire element herbs refined by an alchemist to neutralize the medicinal properties before use. You just swallowed it raw like that. It'll freeze his heart veins to pieces. Just shut up and watch. I stared intently at Yunzu. In less than 10 breaths since the medicine hit her throat, its powerful effects began to show. The grayish poisonous miasma on Yunzu's face melted away like snow under blazing sun, quickly fading. Vivid color and life flushed her cheeks, creeping back onto her face. Suddenly, Yunzu coughed violently, then twisted aside sharply. and spit out a mouthful of black-purple, foul, clotted blood. Several elders glanced at each other, their eyes nearly popping out. The poison. It's actually been forced out. Yanzu gasped for breath, slowly opening her eyes. As her vision finally focused, and she saw the blood-stained face before her, those eyes always cold as ice, began to tremble violently. The fan. You're not dead. You made it back alive. I've got a hard life. Not that easy to die. Your poison is gone. Now tell me, what's the story with that scum Zhang Ying? Hearing that name, Yan Zu's weak breath instantly grew sharp, murderous intent erupting in her eyes. That bastard. I lost consciousness after desperately killing the venomous crocodile. Not only did he not save me, he took advantage of the chance to steal my life-bound flying sword. After you drove him off for me, he knew his energy sea was crippled, and that returning to the sect would be a dead end anyway. So he colluded with Li San to fabricate a lie about saving me, trying to trick the sect into giving him the sea forging technique. He had the nerve to claim.
He defeated Kihai and rescued me.
Yanzu. Are you sure about this? I swear on my Dao heart. If there's half a lie, let me be struck by lightning. Not only did he steal merit, but he tried to kill a fellow disciple. Let's go to the Hall of Enforcement. It's time to settle this account. The group of us arrived at the majestic Hall of Enforcement. After listening to Yanzu's account, the sect master Zhuangqing of Qingyun's sect, sitting at the head, slammed the table with thunderous rage. Cracks instantly spider-webbed across the ice throne. Such nerve! An outer disciple dares to plot against a core inner disciple, deceiving superiors and subordinates alike. Where is the Hall of Enforcement? Go arrest Zhang Ying and Li San immediately. Abolish their cultivation. Throw them into the penitence cliff. A gate guard disciple covered in blood staggered into the main hall, collapsing to the floor. Reporting to the sect master, Zhang Ying. He's gone mad. While the guards were off guard, he injured several disciples, broke the outer formation of the sword repository, stole a spirit boat, and escaped. What? Which direction did he flee?
He ran towards the western territory of the Blood Demon sect.
It's rumored the Blood Demon sect has a forbidden Blood Sea infant technique that can restore a destroyed Danshin and energy sea. The Blood Demon sect he's actually joined forces with the demonic cult. Zhang Yin ran away, but I stood to the side. My expression was completely calm. So what if he ran? If he dares to show up again? Next time, he won't be facing just a stun baton. I'll let him experience the physical release of a large caliber bullet. Master Zhuangqing calmed his anger. His gaze was deep and landed on me with overwhelming pressure. Your name is the Fan. An ordinary person with no spiritual power. It was you who survived a second-tier venom demon. And today you were able to venture into the toxic mist alone. You retrieved the divine grass from the jaws of a peak second-tier giant python. I am very curious how you managed to do it. I killed that snake using my own methods. The process isn't important. Only the result matters. The elders in the hall all gasped. An ordinary person killed a foundation stage monster. Master Zhuangqing gave me a long look. A hint of appreciation flashed in his eyes. Everyone has secrets. You saved me. A genius of the sect. That is a tremendous achievement. The Qingyun sect rewards and punishes clearly. The Fan Tingfeng. Starting today, you are exempted from your status as an outer sect disciple. I will make an exception to grant you the position of guest elder in the inner sect, equal to the rank of administrator, not bound by the sect rules. The Qingyun sect's resource treasury is open to you. Take whatever you want. That's exactly what I've been waiting for. Thank you, Sect Master. Qingyun sect's rear mountain resources are protected. The blind elder saw the purple gold token I revealed and nervously opened the vault. Rich spiritual energy mist rushed toward me. This area is for spiritual herbs. That area is for ores. No need to introduce. I'll take the 100-year purple snow ginseng. And the 1,000-year bone-cleansing flower. I'll take both. I swept through like a hungry wolf. Every rare item that's vanished from Earth was unceremoniously swept into my storage space. Finally, I stopped in front of a white jade pool. The spiritual liquid essence is from Lady Keking. Just one drop can extend a mortal's life by 10 years. I immediately ladled out a dozen large jade bottles until the storage ring the size of half a room was so packed you couldn't fit a single needle inside. With all these items, take them back to Earth. Do a little packaging. They're nuclear-level business assets. It was already dark outside the treasure vault. Yang Chu was waiting for me atop the white jade stairs. She had changed into a moon-white long dress and regained her lofty and proud aura. But when she looked at me, her eyes revealed a softness she couldn't hide. You're going back to your world. Yeah. I still have a few pests over there to deal with. Once I've cleaned up, I'll come see you again. Jiang Ying joined the Blood Demon sect. He's extremely scheming. This is my natal sword talisman. If you face a deadly calamity, break it, and no matter how far apart we are, I'll sense it. Thanks, you still owe me a favor. We'll settle the score when I return. I tucked the sword talisman into my chest and waved at him. Walked to an empty corner, clenched the ancient jade pendant tightly in my left hand. Returned to Zhangcheng. Blinding white light. The instant my feet touched the ground, the air had a mix of sewer smell. I stood steadily in the old house's living room. The neon lights outside just turned on. Only a few hours had passed on Earth. I didn't rush out. Instead, I found 10 bottles of mineral water, dropped a single drop of spiritual liquid essence into a big basin of purified water, diluted it tens of thousands of times. The water turned a faint green and gave off a scent that relaxed the pores. Just as I finished all this, I got a call from Beikatang's chief TCM doctor. Elder son, the fan, do you still have your medicine? Jiangcheng's richest man, Shen Wanshen, is critically ill in the hospital. He needs the miracle medicine to save his life. I still have some life-extending potion on hand.
Elder son.
Send me the location. Hung up the call. Went straight to Jiangcheng Hospital. VIP intensive care ward. When I pushed open the door, the pungent smell of disinfectant mixed with death invaded my nose. It rushed toward me. On the screens of various medical instruments, the lifelines that represented the patient had nearly become a flat line. On the hospital bed lay an elderly man as withered as a corpse, with tubes inserted all over his body, beside the bed of Jiangcheng's richest man, Shen Wanshen. A woman in a black professional outfit, absolutely stunning but drained and haggard, was quietly crying with her face buried in her hands. She is Shen Wanshen's only daughter, Shen Wan, the one who brought me in. Beikatang's chief physician, Sun Leng, wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Brother, this is advanced multi-organ failure. He really only has one breath left. That medicine of yours works in 10 minutes. I didn't waste any words, strided to the bedside, and ripped off Shen Wanshen's oxygen mask. What are you doing? Security, who let him in. I sidestepped him, pressed Shen Wanshen's jaw down like an iron claw with my left hand, forcing him to open his mouth. With my right hand, I poured in that diluted medicine, made him drink it. What did you give my dad, you jerk? A few bodyguards in black rushed into the room, ready to pull their guns. Let him swallow it. I gave the bodyguards a cold glance. In my eyes, there was a killing aura forged in the piles of corpses and seas of blood in the immortal world that startled several ex-Special Forces bodyguards into freezing where they stood, not daring to make a move. The ECG monitor suddenly sounded a piercing alarm. Oh no, his heart rate is dropping fast. You're killing my dad. Hopelessness filled Shen Wan's eyes. She grabbed a medical tray, ready to smash me.
Hold on.
Watch the monitors. The alarm stopped abruptly in the next second. The nearly flat lifeline suddenly bounced back like a spring hitting bottom, beating strong and regular. 80-90. Blood pressure normal. Blood oxygen saturation 98%. How is this possible? Organ failure is reversing. A miracle happened on the hospital bed. Shen Wanshan's previously grayish face quickly lost its deathly look. A touch of unbelievable rosiness appeared on his cheeks. He suddenly took a huge breath of air and broke out in a violent coughing fit. Almost suffocated me. Shen Wanshan actually pulled out his own IV from the back of his hand, threw off his blanket, and sat straight up. The whole place fell silent. The bodyguards looked at me like I was God. Old Sun was already kneeling on the ground, muttering to himself. A medical miracle? A medical miracle? Shen Wan dropped to her knees in front of the room with a thud, and sobbed uncontrollably. Dad, How are you feeling? Shen Wanshan was vigorous and full of life. There wasn't even a trace left of a dying man. I feel like I could jog 2 laps right now. He looked over at Old Sun, then at me, calm-faced and standing to the side. He instantly understood. This business mogul who once dominated Zhangcheng walked straight up to me without hesitation and gave a deep bow in gratitude for saving his life. You might as well have given me a new life. Mr. Li, from now on in Zhangcheng. If you need anything, I'll go through fire and water for you. Here's 100 million yuan as startup capital. The password is 6 zeros. Please, sir, you must accept it. I didn't refuse. I took the black card with 2 fingers and slipped it casually into my pocket. Chairman Shen. This is only the beginning. I still have more of this miracle medicine. I want to set up a company in Zhangcheng and target the high-end wellness market. I'll provide the technology. You provide the channels. We split the profits 70-30. 70 for me, 30 for you. No problem. Being able to partner with Mr. Shen Wan was flushed with excitement. It's an honor for the Shen family. Half a month later, Zhuzhou Trading Group made a high-profile debut, like a nuclear bomb going off, instantly rocking Zhangcheng's upper class. The highly diluted spirit elixir was packaged as the ultra-expensive Zhuzhou Rejuvenation Oral Solution, targeting the most elite circles of Zhangcheng's wealthy. Each bottle sold for an astronomical price and was still impossible to get. I was no longer the guy struggling at the bottom, the cancer patient delivering food. Now, I was living in the most luxurious hillside villa in Zhangcheng, controlling billions in assets, and sheltered by the Shen family's powerful protection. But this massive piece of pie eventually attracted wolves. That afternoon, I was sitting in my office, eyes closed, regulating my breath, when the rosewood double doors of the office were violently kicked open. Shen Wan's face was covered in blood, her clothes mostly torn off. She staggered and collapsed in front of my desk. Something happened. Boss Ma, the underworld king of the city's south side, came with hundreds of men and smashed 3 of our distribution stores. He even kidnapped my good-for-nothing brother Shen Ji, who was in charge of transport. I snapped my eyes open, my peak physical strength surging through my body like a tidal wave. The edge of my solid wood desk was unconsciously gripped into 5 finger holes by me. What does he want? He says our profit margins are too high. We're breaking the rules of Jiangcheng. He wants you at midnight tonight to bring the core formula of the miracle medicine to the abandoned steel plant in the western suburbs for an exchange. Otherwise, he'll cut off Shenji's hands and feet. Did you call the police? I stood up, put on a black trench coat. It's useless. Boss Ma has deep underground connections all over Jiangcheng, incredibly deep ties. Even if the police go, they won't catch him, but instead, he'll just kill the hostage instantly. Perfect. Then we'll handle this without involving the police. Mister, that you can't go alone. That's walking into a lion's den. Let go. Tell Shen Wansheng to get ready to take over all of Boss Ma's legal businesses. After tonight, there will be no more Boss Ma in Jiangcheng. 11 p.m. Abandoned steel factory in the western suburbs. The cold night wind whistled through the rusty metal sheets, making the factory howl like ghosts and wolves. On the huge open space of the factory grounds, over 300 shirtless thugs, armed with machetes, steel pipes, and homemade shotguns, surrounded the place tight as a drum. On the second floor, at the iron railing viewing deck, a bald fat man in a floral shirt, with a brutal-looking face, was sitting on a sofa, smoking a cigar. This was Boss Ma. At his feet lay Shenji, bloodied and barely alive. He was hanging on to life by a thread. And that lone shark, Long Tian, who came to my house to collect before, was standing behind Boss Ma like a dog. Boss Ma, you think that the guy really dares to come alone? Bullshit. He's a big shot now. His life is precious. If he doesn't show, I'll chop this kid's hands off immediately and ruin his business completely. The rusty metal doors of the factory were suddenly kicked open from outside. Both massive iron doors, weighing hundreds of pounds, crashed to the ground, kicking up a huge cloud of dust. With both hands in my trench coat pockets, I stepped onto the iron doors and walked in, one step at a time. All 300-plus thugs focused instantly on me. Machete blades glinted coldly in the moonlight. Whoa, he's really got guts. Coming alone. Boss, cut the crap. Did you bring the formula? I looked up, eyes cold as if staring at a corpse. I brought it. Release him. Release him? Are you such a pushover in business now? I'm not just after the formula today. I want your life too. There can only be one boss in Jiangcheng. Chop him up for me, kill. 300-plus thugs, wielding machetes and iron bars, charged at me like a dam bursting. They roared as they surged toward me. I stood my ground, didn't dodge or resist. Against these powerless mortals, them using hot weapons would actually be an insult to my perfected body. I suddenly looked up. Since you all want to die. The muscles in my legs bulged like steel. I stomped on the ground. The hard concrete floor was crushed into a half-meter-wide dent by my foot. My whole body charged ahead like a speeding armored vehicle, straight into the crowd without hesitation. A sharp machete smashed down hard on my left shoulder, but there was no torn skin, no blood. Instead, the steel-forged blade was nicked and shattered the moment it struck my muscles. The edge broke off instantly. What, did I just hit a block of solid steel? Too weak. I backhanded a slap across his face. His neck gave a crisp snap, and he flew 3 spins through the air, knocking down a whole group behind him. I rushed into the crowd, completely abandoning all defense. Steel pipes smashed over my head and just bent. Knives, Couldn't even tear the surface of my shirt. Shanyon body refinement technique, full mastery. My rebellious nature is gone. My physical strength on Earth is basically Superman level. Every punch I throw is always accompanied by the dull sound of bones breaking and piercing shrill screams. I didn't use any technique, just the purest, most instinctive method. I picked up a 200-pound fatty with one hand and swung him like a windmill, smashing him into the crowd, clearing out a huge area instantly. On the second floor stands, Uncle Ma's laughter sounded like a duck being strangled, cut off abruptly.
His cigar fell into his crotch.
Burned a hole in his pants. He didn't even notice, his face full of terror as he stared below. A one-sided massacre, a field of Asura. Is this even human, damn it? Shoot, open fire. Kill this monster. Some in the crowd raised their guns. Countless pellets mixed with sparks rained down on me. I suddenly grabbed a half-ton abandoned machine tool, hoisted it up with one arm like an anvil, blocking in front of me. Pellets slammed into the iron anvil, sparks flying everywhere. Take this back. I growled and hurled the half-ton anvil like a cannonball at several gunmen, along with them, and the wall behind them, smashed directly into a pile of meat paste by the anvil. Fear spread like a plague among the gangsters, looking at the more than 100 people lying on the ground with broken limbs, brothers endlessly wailing. The remaining 100 plus completely broke down. They dropped their weapons, crying and scrambling desperately to escape the factory. Monster. He's a monster. Run. In under 3 minutes, the 300 plus mobsters were totally routed. I stood amid the wailing ruins, patted non-existent dust off my trench coat, lifted my head and looked at the stands on the second floor. Uncle Ma was already so scared he collapsed there, a yellow puddle spreading from his crotch, emitting a pungent stench. Long Tian's legs went weak as well, and he fell straight to his knees, desperately kowtowed. Brother, I'm sorry, please spare me. I walked to the support pillar, gathered force in my legs, with no run-up whatsoever, leapt straight up from the ground, and landed onto the second floor, more than 3 meters high. Uncle Ma was crying and sniveling, furiously crawling backward. Don't kill me. Boss, I don't want the money anymore. I won't fight you for business either. All my guys are yours now. What I said just now. I walked right up to him and grabbed his floral shirt collar, picked up his 300-pound body single-handedly out of thin air, suspending him in midair. Let them go. Release me, release Long. Are you blind, you idiot? Let young Master Shen go, now. Too bad, it's too late. The ironclad evidence of your criminal empire, 10 minutes ago. I've already had Shen Kankian hand it to the City Bureau's anti-gang unit. By the way, your bones are even more fragile than this wall. I lifted him with my left hand, clenched my right fist, punched hard right next to him, smashing straight into the half-meter-thick concrete support wall. The whole wall, like it was made of paper, was punched through completely by me. The sheer destructive force even made the entire stand shake violently, with debris and dust filling the sky, scaring Uncle Ma till his gallbladder nearly burst. Uncle Ma rolled his eyes back and passed out from fright. I threw him onto the ground like a dead pig, pulled out my phone and called Shen Wanzhen. Come clean up the mess. After tonight, I don't want to see any business sign in River City with the character May on it. Understood, Mr. On the legal side. We're already on our way. Wipe them out, roots and all. Uproot all of them, leave none behind. On the other end of the call, Shen Wanshen's voice was brimming with barely contained excitement.
10 minutes later.
The screech of sirens engulfed the entire western suburb. I ignored the blinding red and blue outside, hands in my trench coat pockets, walked out of the abandoned factory under the moonlight. Early the next morning, with bright sunshine. River City News headline: the criminal gang that occupied the city's south side for 10 years was wiped out overnight. Ringleader Maying and more than 200 gang members were all arrested. I sat in the hilltop villa's patio, holding a glass of red wine, looking down on this city being reshuffled beneath my feet. My phone suddenly rang. I glanced at it. It was a strange landline number.
I picked up.
There was my cousin, the high's miserable, despairing wail on the other end. The fan! The fan! Fanzi, save me, please help me. Uncle! We're in trouble. The hat came for us. They said we're involved in loan sharking, violent collections, and illegal syndicate crimes. Uncle Ma and Long Tian dumped all the blame on us, Fanzi. Uncle is begging you on his knees. You're the big boss now. Just put in a word with the authorities. Get the charges against us dropped, please. We're blood relatives of the Bloodhand legacy. In the background, Uncle's wife could be heard, slapping herself and screaming in pain. Family? Uncle, when you led people to kick down my security door and wanted to throw me out for the wild dogs, did you ever think about blood being thicker than water? Fanzi, we were just possessed by evil back then. You'll have plenty of time to sew in prison now. The audio I saved at the police station of you guys shouting, "Break his legs," is enough to let your whole family of 3 reunite in prison for 10 years. Or at least 8. What are you doing? Enjoy your time in there, won't you? You beast! You'll die miserably. I pressed the hang-up button and immediately blocked the number, completely cutting ties with the past. I felt nothing at all inside. When dealing with those who want my life, tolerance is the ultimate stupidity. The secular crisis in Jiangcheng has been resolved, and wealth is flowing in continuously. I plan to return to the Qingyun sect tonight. I had already ordered some weapons to be prepared for me. However, just as I raised my wine glass and prepared to take the last sip of red wine, a subtle, deadly whistling sound of something cutting through the air suddenly attacked from behind my head. That wasn't the speed of a bullet. It was the sound of an airflow shearing faster than the speed of sound. Thanks to the insane intuition granted by my peak body refinement, my head instinctively jerked an inch to the left. Crack! The glass of the goblet in my hand was instantly shattered into powder by an invisible force. Red wine spilled all over me, and on the hard marble pillar behind me, a 2-inch deep, perfectly smooth finger hole had appeared. Internal energy projection, plucking leaves to use as lethal petals. This is a martial artist on Earth. I spun around abruptly. On the edge of the villa's terrace, at some unknown point, stood a man in a gray-tongued suit, a gaunt, skeletal old man.
He had his hands behind his back,
staring at me with eyes as cold and sinister as a venomous snake. The most advanced infrared alarm system I had installed around me was surprisingly useless against him. Nice reflexes. Your physical body is trained like a block of iron. This old man comes on behalf of the Lin family of Yanjing's ancient martial arts world. The martial family. Don't waste your energy. The firearms of your secular world, before my protective internal energy, are nothing but scrap metal. A solid wood coffee table 3 meters away from me was directly sliced in half through the air by an invisible current of energy. Wood chips flew everywhere. My pupils constricted sharply. Though my current physical body can withstand blades and axes, against this kind of internal martial energy that can penetrate flesh and directly shatter internal organs, I absolutely cannot hold out. To think a monster of this level is hidden on Earth. Young man, hand over the core formula for that divine water. And the person behind you providing the spiritual energy resources. I can guarantee you a position as an outer disciple of the Lean family, and a lifetime of wealth and glory. If you don't hand it over, and if I don't, what then? If you don't, then die. A murderous glint flashed in the old man's eyes. He gave me no time to negotiate. He kicked off the ground, his entire body turning into an afterimage. His withered claws, accompanied by a sharp sonic whistle, aimed straight for my throat. The speed was unimaginably fast. I realized instantly that physical strength alone cannot compete with a top-tier ancient martial grandmaster. At the critical moment, without hesitation, I took from my storage ring a high-grade stealth talisman bought from the outer sect of the Qingyun sect, and crushed it. The old man's claw missed, slamming directly into the bulletproof glass of the floor-to-ceiling window behind me, shattering it into a million pieces. Meanwhile, empowered by the talisman, my body instantly became transparent, and my aura vanished completely. Using the shattering glass as cover, I leapt directly from the second-floor terrace and rolled into the dense woods of the backyard. Invisibility? An illusion?
Hey.
You can run, little monk, but you can't hide from the temple. I'll give you 3 days. In 3 days, I want to see that formula on your desk. Otherwise, no one in this villa will be spared. The old man's voice echoed through the night sky. Then he vanished into the villa area with a few leaps. I hid deep in the woods, my back drenched in cold sweat. Terrifying. This old man's strength is definitely comparable to the peak key refinement stage, or even a half-step foundation establishment cultivator. My Jujo group has taken too much of others' cake, and the divine medicine has attracted the greed of hidden powers. The so-called ancient martial families have come knocking, and they could slaughter my subordinates at any time. And in the cultivation world, Jiang Yin has defected to the Blood Demon sect, and could lead demonic cultivators to counterattack the Qingyun sect at any moment, seeking revenge against me. Relying solely on physical body refinement and 2 pistols is simply not enough to fight ancient martial grandmasters and true cultivators. I wiped the cold sweat off my face. You want to steal my things? You want to kill me? I dialed the number of a middleman for the world's largest overseas black market for arms. Oh, my dear boss, the god of wealth for the Jujo group. What can I do for you? How much stock do you have? I want weapons of mass destruction. Large caliber rifles, snipers, or how many grenades do you want? Not enough. Calculate the gunpowder in tons. I want 10 rocket launchers and missile launchers. Get me 2 sets if you have them. Most importantly, I want 2 of the fastest multi-barrel heavy weapons, plus 100,000 rounds of incendiary ammunition. There was a sharp intake of breath on the other end of the line. Silence lasted for a full half-minute. Are you going to fight a local war? This is strategic grade stuff. I'll pay 3 times the market price. 50 million United States dollars. Before tomorrow night, the goods must be delivered to international waters. At the meeting point. If even 1 bullet is missing, I'll send you to meet God. Deal. I hung up the phone and gripped the ancient jade pendant on my chest tightly. Since you claim to be high and mighty, and view me as an ant, since cultivation spells and Earth's martial energy cannot be defeated by traditional means, then I will buy the most hardcore, most brutal physical truth on this planet. When I return across the realms, whether it's the evil cultivators of the blood demon sect, or the ancestor of the ancient Lin family, I will use a torrent of steel to give you all a proper lesson on what true equality for all means. A few days later, international waters, I stood at the pier, watching the heavy containers slowly swing open. Even the Russian arms dealer wiped his cold sweat. Mr. Everything you wanted is here. Are you going to start World War III? I didn't waste any words. With a wave of my right hand, dozens of tons of arms vanished into thin air, all swept into my storage ring. I'm going to clean up a few pests. Ignoring Ivan's ghostly expression, I turned and walked into a blind spot in the cabin, gripping the ancient jade pendant tightly. The cultivation world. Blood demon sect, demonic training ground. The cold wind howled. Yanzu and I were hidden atop a 100-foot cliff. Below was the densely packed blood demon sect demonic cultivator camp. My movements were like a ghost. At the cliff's weight-bearing points and the formation eyes, I quickly filled them with gunpowder. What kind of array is this? There's absolutely no spiritual fluctuation. Physical exorcism formation. I'm retreating back to the bottom of the cliff. I slam my thumb onto the remote control button. A deafening explosion rips through the air. A huge mushroom cloud rises into the sky. The ground shakes and the mountains tremble. More than half of the blood demon sect's base is instantly buried by tens of millions of tons of rubble. Hundreds of low-ranked evil cultivators turn to ash in their sleep. A blood-soaked figure emerges from the smoke, scrambling desperately out of the ruins. His right arm was blown off at the shoulder. It's Zhang Ying, who destroyed the foundation of my blood demon sect. Your grandpa. I stand on the edge of the cliff, a rocket launcher slung over my shoulder, looking down at him from above. The fan, how could a mere mortal like you? So much nonsense. I pull the trigger. The rocket whizzes out trailing a fiery tail. Jiang Ying's hastily conjured spirit shield shatters like scrap paper before the armor-piercing round. A huge ball of fire erupts. All that's left is a deep crater. Deep in the canyon, a furious roar erupts. A Foundation establishment-level evil cultivator elder leads over 200 elite members who survived the blast. They soar skyward on blood-red flying swords. Murderous intent fills the air. We'll tear this mortal to pieces. Yanzu, step back. I kick aside the rubble covering my body. Pull a 6-barreled heavy machine gun from my storage ring. I bite down on a cigar. Clamp hard on the trigger. To hell with your cultivation. 6 gun barrels roar wildly, spitting out dazzling blue flames a yard long. Over 100 armor-piercing incendiary rounds a second, weaving a thick, airtight storm of metal death. Sky-high arrows are instantly shredded into metal fragments by the storm. What kind of sorcery is this? My defensive aura can't hold back the barrage. The 50 evil cultivators closest didn't even get a chance to scream. Their shields shattered, instantly struck down along with me. It only took 30 seconds. 200 elites reduced to scattered flesh on the ground. Their protective spiritual force tore like tissue paper. The Foundation establishment elder was scared out of his wits. He turned to flee from me. Trying to escape? I casually toss away the scorching hot machine gun and pull out a Stinger missile launcher. The flame streaks for the sky. A blinding blood-red explosion bursts high above. The elder falls. King Yun's sect is under my protection, the fan. Anyone who dares to offend again will meet this fate. Yunzu sheathes his sword on the cliff edge. He looks at me. Those always cool and calm eyes now only hold deep shock and reliance. He steps forward, hands me a warm jade talisman. Take me wherever you go. Let's go. Come see my world. Jiangcheng, Earth, a hillside mansion. Just as we land on the ground, the mansion's bulletproof glass shatters. Dozens of ancient martial arts masters in gray tongue suits rush into the living room like a tide. Before the crowd parts, the skinny elder who smashed the tea table walks forward with a sneer. Beside him stands another with terrifying aura. The Lin family's elder, white-haired but child-faced. The Yu. Hand over the formula. We'll let you keep your body whole. Courting death. I waste no words. Draw the weapon from my waist. Pull the trigger repeatedly. Such petty tricks. The Lin family elder snorts coldly. Waves his withered hand. A terrifying wave of semi-cultivation force erupts. Bullets capable of piercing steel plates are forcibly deflected mid-air by him. Slam into the wall. Mortal firepower can't hurt me at all. His 5 fingers form a claw, tearing through the air straight toward me. Today I'll show you what real power is. Yunzu steps forward barefoot, standing in front of me. She lifts her beautiful eyes slightly. Her jade fingers pressed together, points out into the air. Insolence! Frost Sword Key. True cultivation power. A dimensional strike. Extreme cold erupts. The mansion's temperature drops to absolute zero. The Lin family elder's proud inner defense crumbles like rotted wood before this pure cultivation sword energy. Collapse, utterly and completely. No, this can't be. Who are you? The elder's face is full of terror. His hands and arms instantly crystallize into ice. His whole body, frozen alive into an immobile ice statue. Kill you. I step forward, gun barrel pressed to the forehead of the ice sculpture. The Lin family elder's head shatters like an ice statue. The remaining martial arts masters are scared out of their minds. Weapons litter the floor. The whole living room fills with men kneeling in terror. The Lin family pledges loyalty to Immortal Thee. Please spare our lives, sir. Chairman Shen sends people to clean up. From now on, Jiangcheng's underworld has only one rule. My rule. Half a month later, the Kyushu Financial Group spans both worlds. Otherworldly spirit herbs become miracle medicine to save modern lives. Heavy industry on Earth supports cultivation world infrastructure. Jiangcheng's business and underworld are completely subdued. Outside the detention center gates, An kneels on the ground. Fan Ziai, the High will be killed inside. Aunt bows her head to you. Please, just sign the forgiveness letter. The rest of my future. The roar of the car engine, leaving all that disgusting family behind for good. Night falls. Rooftop terrace atop Jiangcheng. Yun Zhu changes into a modern white dress. Bare feet on the carpet. She leans against the railing, gazing down at the bustling, brightly lit city below. Your world has no city defense arrays. Yet it's more dazzling than King Yun-sek's starry sky. I walk over, gently hold her from behind. Left hand, stroking the ancient jade pendant on my chest, still warm. The night wind blows. I look up at the sky. Whisper, Dad. Mom. Your son survived. And he's doing great.